Hello, this is Jess. Good to see you. Chat session number 77. It's Tuesday, January 16th, 2018. It's around 22 degrees outside. We had a slight snow, nothing sticking, but we got a lot of ice. I worked last night. Got off around 12:30 due to the sleet and stuff. And I don't have far to drive from where I work at, but apparently they shut down the plant, so I had to go. Gonna go right into the chat sessions, go right into the tidbits of history. 1919, on this day, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibiting the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors for beverage purposes is ratified and becomes the law of the land. All that Prohibition really did, I mean, they came up with the Volstead Act, where Woodrow Wilson actually vetoed it. He didn't want to do it, but they override with the 75% ratification by the Congress, and it allowed men to go around that work for the government and prosecute and destroy places where they found liquor and stuff, and bring all kinds of criminal charges against people. But really, all it did was create the mob. The beginnings of it. New York City, Capone in Chicago. There's different people all throughout Philadelphia. The mob made tons of money selling liquor and operating what they called speakeasies, where you go in and you could get drinks, but it was real hush hush. They checked you at the door, all that kind of stuff to allow liquor to be sold, and it caused all that to happen. But it was finally repealed in 1933 with the 21st Amendment. So really, all that did, like I said, I think it was a good move to repeal it, but I think that what it actually did when they put it into effect was caused organized crime to get its birth, to bring about lawlessness and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I love coffee. Alright, we're going to go right on to the next tidbit of history. 1938. Jazz has been called America's classical music, a label that does more than just recognize its American origins. The label also makes the case that jazz is worthy of aesthetic consideration alongside music usually thought of as classical. But in the 1930s, this notion was laughable, which is what made Benny Goodman's concert on January 16, 1938, at New York City's famed Carnegie Hall so revolutionary. Goodman and his supporting cast claimed a new place for jazz on the American cultural scene and has become seen as the most important jazz concert in history. Goodman was at the height of his career when it was suggested he play Carnegie Hall. The story is told that he laughed it off and said that'll never happen. But after he thought about it, he went back and gave it everything he had and put in all his efforts, and it became a reality. And at that time, the best tickets cost $2.75. They performed the show. It was all the talk and stuff for a decade or so, but it wasn't. It would be another decade before anyone who was not at the concert would hear it. Goodman's sister-in-law found a set of acetates in 1950. They were able to put it together and release a 33 1/3 LP, and it was the first one to sell 1 million copies. The first one made to sell 1 million copies. Eventually, they discovered the aluminum studio master recordings, which led to numerous reissues on CD, high quality, high definition, digital sound and stuff. So if you haven't had an opportunity to hear that, I've heard it. It's fantastic. Of course, I really like that era of music, and I also like Benny Goodman. I think that he was extraordinary musician, composer, that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's the tidbits of history, 1919 and 1938. Now, on to other things. Everybody on all sides, the Republicans, the Democrats, whoever, independents, all these different people, all have this notion, our way's best, our way's best. But how about we get some qualifying things, to really determine what is best. And if you're into division, if you're into all the stuff that causes people to get mad at a position, usually it winds out of money, religion, and then it turns into envy, greed, which leads to all the other things that come from that. And I think that I have an idea. I think that I'm not even going to go into fully my idea because people laugh it off, whatever. I'm not into all that. I'll keep my thoughts to myself on most of this stuff, but I think it's time to totally change how we do things from the electoral process, especially in the federal. I don't think we need the electoral college anymore. I think that at one point it was instituted so that the least populated states would have a say in a government. But if they're all allowed a certain amount of people elected, I don't see how they couldn't have the say. So, in other words, one state carries this many points, one state carries that many points. That's bullshit. I think that if somebody gets 17 million votes and the other person gets 14 million votes, the person with 17 million votes wins, hands down. I just don't understand why we have to have some states get all this stuff and these points, and you have to win this state to win and all that. That is it is a lie that it has to be that way. It doesn't. It shouldn't. And I think that if we just vote and all this crap about, we got to have all these rules and regulations, no, you don't. If you have a United States driver's license, or if you have an ID of showing that you're a resident of a state, then you should be able to vote. Period. I don't understand all the additions and all the rules, and I think that the poll should be set up for the people, not for excluding the people that can't get there. They work during the day on voting day. It should be a holiday. If we're going to vote, give us a holiday. Let us all go out and vote. And then we'll see who really wins. It is such a lie to say that a democracy exists when there's so many ways to keep people from voting. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. I can't even begin, to show my total disgust with it. I watch the news and everybody's this and that and everyone's mad about this and that. Man, come on. Let's just go back to a simple thing. Everybody get out on a voting day. It's a national holiday. We vote. No restrictions except you just have to have an ID. If you have an ID, you can vote. I don't understand all the other shit that gets added. Never mind. Done with that. Be truthful. Be happy. Let's look out for each other, okay?